What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 5 of Prop It Like It's Hot, powered by PropInsiders.com, your home for the best prop betting info, stats, and trends. I'm Nick, and I'm joined here today by Clayton and Lucas. Don't forget to use code PLAYOFF499 for over 30% off your first month subscription at PropInsiders.com. Clayton, say what's up to the people.
How's it going, guys? Beautiful day here. May long weekend. Pretty excited to have a nice couple days off work. So, how you doing, Lucas?
I'm good. I am good. Excited for some more playoff basketball this weekend. It's been a couple great games, NHL playoffs with some marathons. Yeah, it's an exciting time. It's awesome. So, Nick, you want to turn it over to you for some baseball?
Yeah, let's do it. So, currently Saturday morning here before the baseball slate kicks off. Gonna do a little recap of yesterday. Follow along with a couple, like we always do, prop leader section. Go through some of that cool stuff. So, yesterday, which would have been Friday, the 19th of May, um, Yankees continued their kind of hot run here. They've been performing great lately, taking over series against the Blue Jays where there was a little bit of maybe a little bit too much talking about certain cases with Aaron Judge. But what did you guys think of the whole ordeal there? I know for those of you that don't know, essentially he was found peeking into the dugout prior to hitting an absolute nuke against the Jays off of Manoa, I believe. So what do you guys think on that?
I'm fine with it. I get there's baseball's the only sport with about a billion unwritten rules, but if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, kind of thing. You gotta disclose that a little bit better. They've got the pitch com now. There's a lot of ways to get stuff to the catcher and to the pitcher without actually having to signal it. So I'm fine if he's taking a look. If you're gonna do it out in the public, then yeah, somebody's gonna see it. Surprised the entire dugout doesn't see it and call it out every time. But
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fun. I don't really care. I think it's good. I think for Judge, especially, he's kind of always been like that kind of boring guy in the media. He doesn't really show off a ton. If this spurs a little bit of you know attitude into his game, I think it's good for baseball. Good selling point. Good get some good clips out of it. Little piss and vinegar between the Jays and Yankees. I think it's good. You know, and it was honestly the best part is that he nuked the ball too.
Yeah.
Just then everyone gets really riled up about it, and just I think it's great. Honestly,
it's bad
Poor
when
J
the press is calling for him to get a ball in the rib cage. So
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I watched the game. I kind of saw it happen. I saw a clip afterwards. Like, there's literally yelling in the dugout. So I don't know if maybe there was something going on in terms of sign stealing or whatnot, but it was kind of funny. I liked how he kind of played a little joke on it after he hit a single. The next game, he covers up his eyes. So I thought that was kind of funny. So that, yeah, that was the big talking point of this week, I guess. Obviously, two big market teams with the Yankees and the hometown Jays. Jays seem to be struggling a little bit lately. Obviously, Yankees took advantage of that series win, so they're moving up in the standings in that crazy AL East. I believe everyone in that division still has a winning record, which I believe is the only division that stays the same, seemingly year over year, where everyone's performing, um, especially when the Orioles are good. Usually the Orioles are not so good, but
yeah, they're
they're
usually
kind of,
anchoring the bottom.
yeah. I mean, obviously they did a pretty good job the past couple of years. They took advantage of them being quote unquote shitty, drafting Adley Rutschman, who was one of the bigger baseball prospects of the last 5 years. He's been a stud for them. Obviously, catcher, super important position in baseball, kind of navigating the game, if you want to call it. But he's providing offense too, and he's been pretty stellar for them. Mountcastle's been great as leading the power of the offense, and a couple of the guys, Mullins picked it up after kind of a slow start to the year. Um, but enough of that. We're gonna hop into a quick, just little breakdown of some of the prop leaders here. Um, Something we don't always talk about, which is usually because it's a prop that has crazy, stupid odds, but these guys are kind of defying the odds, if you want to call it. might be a system of this new change and making it easier to steal bases, if you want to call it. But a couple guys here for the Oakland Athletics. Surprisingly, we even talk about them given how bad they
They
are.
get on base.
Uh, yeah, no, I guess this guy's getting on base and he's stealing bases. They're already talking about him, comparing him to Ricky Henderson, which is kind of wild to me because
That's a
it's a
good
little
comparison to
disrespect.
have. Yeah.
It's a little disrespectful because obviously Ricky did it in a different time and different landscape of the game, but
Yeah.
whatever. Esteri Ruiz. Esteri. I don't even. How do you even spell? How do you even say this name?
We're
E
not a
S.
pronunciation podcast.
But I'm curious. I want to know how you guys would pronounce this name. Esterury. Estereo? Like what
Esteri?
is that?
Esteri?
Esteri?
Where'd the IO come from there?
I don't know. Rey
Yeah.
Mysterio, baby.
It doesn't help when you add letters in too.
Yeah, shit. Well, yeah, it shows you how good I am at English class.
Yeah.
But
That's a Spanish name, buddy. Don't worry about it.
yeah, no, it's definitely not an English name, that's for sure. But anyways, going into a little bit of the numbers. So, obviously, when you're betting someone to steal a base, given that it's contingent on them being on base, you're usually seeing crazy odds. Most of the guys on the Athletics, besides this guy, are at plus 800 or above. But somehow, this guy to steal a base today, I believe his game's at 1 o'clock, so it's in a couple hours here, is plus 125. And the reason being, Estereo, I'm joking now. He has stolen base in two of his last three, three of his last five, and four of his last 10. Um, his performance, it's obviously short given how earlier we are in the year, and he's a first year guy. In his one road game against the Astros, he does have a stolen base. And on the year, um, he has 21 stolen bases. So obviously pretty good numbers. His on base percentage on the season is 380, so pretty good. So this guy's getting on base for them. Regardless, for him to be getting plus 125, obviously the book's showing him a little bit of respect here. So just some crazy numbers. And then also the other guy on the list to note is obviously Ronald Acuna Jr. He's having a great start to the season. He's definitely seemingly kind of picking up on some of these cues with the changes to the rules. He is, in terms of betting, 14 of 30 on the season, always getting these at plus odds, so probably a decent ROI. He is stealing bases, 30% of home games, 33% of away games. Obviously, as we go down the list, it gets a little thinner, but those are the top two guys right now in terms of stealing bases. Um, but yeah, I don't want to. I kind of want to keep it short and sweet. I feel like we got a lot to talk about in terms of the NBA and NHL, given that it's playoff time. But so, with that being said, I'm gonna toss it over to Clayton. We'll give
Well,
our picks later for the. Sorry.
one sec. One more talking point on baseball. Did
Yeah,
you guys see that John Boy Media video of Wilson Contreras playing games with Kenley Jansen in the ninth inning? I think it was on Thursday.
I didn't see
No.
it to be honest.
Um, it's kind of an interesting wrinkle with the new rules. So um, obviously Kenley Jansen can't, I believe, start his pitching motion until Contreras or the batter is fully in the
Set.
batter's box
Yeah.
and facing him, right?
Yeah.
So what Contreras was doing was leaving his front foot out of the batter's box, but fully set up and looking at Jansen with his upper body, and he looked like he was ready to hit. But and then so Jansen about was about to begin his pitching motion, like he'd draw his arm in and stuff. And then so the ump gave him one warning, and then Contreras I think got two more balls off of it and ends up walking. And then
Wow.
the Cardinals ended up scoring, I believe it was three in the ninth to then win the game 4-3.
Wow.
But it was an
Little
interesting,
gamesmanship. That's cool. I like that.
yeah. And even Kenley talked about it after the game. He was just kind of like, yeah, I wasn't really aware of it, and then just kind of a bit of a yeah, some gamesmanship with the new rules that other hitters might try, and it'll be interesting to see if they can grab a couple extra balls in big moments that ends up paying off.
Yeah,
So
Yeah, no,
make him look at his feet rather than looking at the strike zone when he's trying to get a pitch in. So
yeah, yeah,
yeah, no.
exactly.
These rules are definitely changing up the game for sure. I find it funny how guys like Max Scherzer seemingly were so excited in the preseason where he was shoving in preseason because it seemed like hitters weren't used to it yet, but he's been pretty awful this year. I got him in fantasy and he's been awful. So obviously the gamesmanship is lacking there in terms of taking advantage of these pitch clocks, pitch timers,
yeah,
whatever you want to call it. But yeah, let's toss it over to a little puck now. Clayton, if you want to give us a little breakdown, obviously into the conference finals now. So let's talk about that.
yeah, over to the ice. 2 overtime games to start it off. It was a lot of fun. So had the what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 longest game in NHL history. Is that right? Yeah, 79 minutes. So the longest game, now that I've looked it up, March 24th, 1936, Detroit 1, Montreal Maroons 0, 116 minutes. Can you imagine watching almost 6 periods
Oh,
of hockey and seeing one goal?
How does
that's
that?
nuts.
I don't even understand how that happens in the 1930s when you basically have a shooter tutor in that.
Yeah,
Like,
you got a
holy
plank of plywood right there and you can't get it around them.
like what? How does it even happen? Is everyone just getting murdered in open ice that
Yeah,
they
are
couldn't
the
even?
defenders just two-handing people and no one's getting through? Like,
What in the hell? That's crazy.
yeah, it's
That's
ridiculous.
wild.
But I mean, great game, like good back and forth kind of action. Goal waved off right at the end, and then they come back eventually and win. So, and then on the other side of the conference divide, Golden Knights score like 90 seconds into their overtime, so we didn't have to sit around and watch that all night. But we'll take two close action games for sure right off the bat. These could be really good for our major markets that we have here now.
Yeah, I guess the NHL is trying to take the most advantage of these of their showtime, given that obviously it's not their ideal four in the final four with some of the smaller markets. But I guess
Yeah.
they're trying to make the money when they can, extending some of these games.
Hey,
But yeah,
Vegas is just printing money at their home games, so that's
oh yeah.
pretty good for them.
I wonder if you
Uh,
can drink in the OTs there.
yeah, would they extend? I mean, Vegas is lawlessness, so I bet.
Yeah. I mean, hey, how about how Brandon Montour was feeling after that quad overtime game? He had 57 minutes of ice time.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
crazy. Fucking
get
hour
in the
sleep.
hyperbaric chamber. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I'll see you boys at team meeting at 5 o'clock. Everyone
yeah,
sleep for hours.
yeah. How they don't bump that game
Jeez.
back another day, but I mean, they go again. And what tonight? 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, or something like that. So
Yeah.
that'll be another good matchup if they can keep it close the whole way through. I'm still leaning towards the Hurricanes, even though they're down 0-1 right now. But I think that they'll rally back at home. So
I think the over wouldn't be a horrible play. I feel like we're gonna get some sloppy hockey after that.
yeah, you could see some tired people, but I think goaltenders are the same for it
That's bold.
Yeah.
after facing
At
like
what
90
point, if
goals
you're a
now.
coach, I got a good question. At what point, if you're a coach, do you change the goalie in a game like that where you're almost playing two games at once? Or do
I
you
don't know if
never?
you
Uh,
do. Like they what? Freddie had 60 shots against. Bobo had 65, right? So even on their very worst night, they've kind of seen those kind of nights. But do you throw a cold goalie in there kind of thing? It's not
Yeah,
like you can
no,
come out
I
at
guess you
intermission
can.
and get your backup warmed up, but
yeah. I don't know.
you,
I think it kind of depends. Um, I don't think you change him mid game unless he's cramping or something, or like he says like I can't go. Right? It's just too risky. But
yeah,
I think the smart thing would be to ride him game one and then give him a break game two, especially if you're the Hurricanes because you have the leg up, right? If you lose game two, it's not the war. Or sorry, if you're the Panthers, if you lose game two, it's not the worst, but you don't gas Bobo out. So
got to assume you'll see some artificial inflation and shots on goal props coming up. Florida had 5 guys over 5 shots, 2 of them at
Yeah,
8, and
dude.
then Brent Burns
Yeah.
had 8 for the Hurricanes as well. So, and they had
Yeah,
also,
definitely can't use those numbers to make your picks today. That's for sure.
yeah,
I
I don't
saw,
think
dude.
that's probably not going to change the line, but like,
Yeah,
man,
no, but
Burns had 7 in the last round in game one or something like that.
I
So
was just gonna say Burns had 9 block shots.
yeah,
9.
just eating it.
That's just like it'll give me an ice pack, dude. Now, like, give it to me,
Yeah.
everything.
Oh, I mean, the Stahl brothers were probably hooked up to IVs at every intermission. They're so old now.
Holy, these guys are having a lot of pizza at intermission. A lot
Yeah.
of pizza.
Yeah. So fun one there. Obviously you got to enjoy every overtime game you can get. So
Yeah, for
we'll
sure.
take that. The only other news for hockey kind of thing is Dubas is out in Toronto.
Doobie.
Long career comes to an end. I don't think anybody's too surprised. They kind of need to win that second game in their second round series for them to stay, or for I'd be surprised to see more guys go as well. But he's out. I don't know what direction you take with that team. I kind of think that you trade off either Matthews or a Marner, maybe try to get him out of there, get something back for it. Changes have to happen. GM's not the one who's scoring the goals, so
Yeah, that's what I
I
hate.
feel,
Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say I feel like it's probably Nylander if anything, but um, yeah, I don't know. What were you gonna say, Nick?
No, I just like honestly, it's kind of I feel bad in a sense for GMs around major sports. It's like you could literally assemble the best team on paper. Not that the Leafs are the best team on paper ever, obviously, but they
pretty
obviously
damn
have
good
a.
though. Yeah,
They're pretty close to whatever you want to call perfect in terms of an on paper team. They got
yeah,
their
they're what
vets, they
you're.
got their young guns, they got defense that's been in the playoffs many years. I mean, yeah, they didn't have a great goalie. And again, like we talked about with the Oilers, maybe that makes a difference. But it's like you put all this pressure and then a guy loses his job because the team can't perform when they're quote unquote the best team on paper in the playoffs.
Honestly, like I don't know if it was much of just their playoff performances that sunk Dubas. It seems like it was like looking at what Shanahan said. It seemed like it was a lot of because of that press conference. I mean, to make a decision like that over a few minutes spoken in front of the media, I don't know. It seems like Dubas kind of overplayed his hand too. He plants a seed of doubt in Shanahan's head,
Yeah.
and then his agent comes back with a improved contract for Dubas, and I guess in sum, Shanahan just thought it wasn't it. But super interesting scenario to ruin a multi-year relationship over a few minutes. I don't know if Sheriff Shanny's gonna regret that one, or not. But whoever steps in after Dubas, welcome to the pressure cooker.
Yeah,
So
talk about a job that's
Mhm.
awesome, but you don't want kind of thing. Hey,
yeah,
Yeah, making millions, but you're getting tons of heat.
yeah, answering to the media and the fans that are going to be showing up to your front door every day, like. But change has to happen there. You can't sit in the first round and then get the wheels blown off you in the second kind of thing. I mean, they only scored 2 goals a game for every game in the second round. So I think the offense has to change up a bit, but we'll see. We'll see what happens July 1 kind of thing when signings start happening. So that's about it for hockey. Do the pick later, but yeah, excited. Good playoff action right now. So send it over to you, Lucas. How's the hoops looking?
uh, hoops are looking good. Getting some spicy games. Looking at obviously Miami Boston played last night. Miami had a big second quarter, 16-2 run, middle of the second, that had them leading 54-50 at half. And then Boston answered with a run of their own in the third, and they held an 11-point lead early in the fourth. And then, Grant Williams decided to put on his best Dylan Brooks impression and piss off Jimmy Butler. And yeah, Jimmy went off in the fourth with some clutch baskets, eventually leading Miami to the 2-0 series win with series lead with two road game wins in Boston. That was pretty huge. Looking at some props from last night's game, Jimmy had 27 but fell under his prop line which was 27.5, I believe. Might have been 28. That might be a typo. Caleb Martin had a massive game for Miami and absolutely murdered his prop. His points prop was 8.5, and he finished at 25. His line for tomorrow is set up at 11.5. Could be a good look just based on momentum on the guy. He's had where was it? Oh, sorry, wrong point. But yeah, I mean, 8.5, you destroy it with 25. 11.5 couldn't be the worst look, but might be a little risky. You'd have to look at the game log on that one a little bit. But he's probably earned himself some more minutes at least. So minutes, opportunity could be a look there. Bam Adebayo also destroyed his rebounds prop line of 8.5, finishing with 17. For the Celtics, Jason Tatum went over all of his points or all of his props. Points, rebounds, assists. He had 35 points, 13 rebounds, and 8 assists. Jaylen Brown had a disappointing game, fell way short of his 24.5 prop line, finishing with only 16 points. Another interesting look for tomorrow night's game could be Robert Williams, who went over his 7.5 points line with 13, and he's had 10 plus in 3 of his last 4. Something I want to touch on in this series and ask you guys is Jimmy Butler becoming a playoff legend? So Nick Wright tweeted yesterday, since joining the Miami Heat in 2019, Jimmy Butler has the most 35-plus point playoff games in the NBA, but in the regular season, he's got the same number of 35-plus point games as Terry Rozier.
Speaking of Nick Wright, and now I'm gonna say Stephen A. That's a bad man. Jimmy is a bad man. That guy is unbelievable when it comes to playoff. Um, he's just stealing the ball left and right, blocking the ball left and right, passing open lanes for easy layups, creating shots. And honestly, Jason Tatum, I know he's kind of it's been him and Jaylen Brown switching on to him, but like he's a way above average defender, and Jimmy Butler's still putting up numbers. I know it's not always going to be the points that we see, but he affects the game in so many ways. And obviously on the defensive end, he's just a dog. Like he's not giving anyone free buckets. So I think he's definitely a playoff legend in my eyes. I know we've only been watching basketball I mean, I'm 26, so I've been watching basketball since I was a little kid, but he's a special player in the playoffs, and that's really it. There's nothing else to say.
Yeah, no, for sure. Fenny, you got anything on that?
No, not a ton. I mean, did want to bring up Nick's prediction. I think you picked the Lakers. That's not looking so great right now. How do you feel about your boys in this series?
I mean, the Lakers have been, so I'm going to say historically, but so far this postseason, they've been great at home. So if you're going to win both at home, then obviously we come back to square one type of thing in
Yeah.
it being a 3-game series to finish if they win these next 2. But obviously, if they drop one at home, you can call it pretty much over. But you can't count out LeBron. I believe there's been 6 teams to come back from down 2-0 in the last couple of years. I saw some tweet on it, and of those 6, 2 of them were LeBron. So obviously can't count him out. Um, Obviously, like he's not a vintage LeBron as we all know and see, but he can always just turn it on at any given time and win a game, or like, in this case, a series.
Um, yeah, to touch on the Lakers Nuggets, that game 2 felt like another one where the Lakers were close and they had their opportunities, but they just couldn't get it done. A lot of blame going LeBron's way after
Yeah.
that one, but I mean, the Lakers can't find an answer to Jokic that's not LeBron. So you're asking him to put in all at 38 years old, put all that effort in defensively on Jokic to shut him down, right? With LeBron as the primary defender, Jokic was 0-6 on field goals, 2 assists and 3 turnovers, and everyone else on him, Jokic went 9 for 15, 10 assists and 2 turnovers. So it's like if that's going to be your answer for Jokic, somebody's got to step up offensively. And, AD can't go 4 for 15 on field goals if they're going to
No.
find success in this series and have LeBron shut down Jokic. And if they're going to play defensive ball and have Jared Vanderbilt and Dennis Schroeder on uh, on the floor, right? And then you gas LeBron out on Jokic, and then now you got to ask him to basically play 3-on-5 because Schroeder and Vanderbilt are absolutely useless on the offensive side of the ball. So it's just, in all honesty, I think it's AD. AD is the key here, right? If AD can put up 30 a game, they've got a shot, right? But you can't gas LeBron out defensively at 38 years old and then expect him to, just carry the offense as well.
Yeah, he's not going to be getting 30 and shutting down Jokic. So
no, it's just not. It's not possible. But a prop I really like for tonight's game. Are we gonna, Nick? You want to get back in here? Are we?
Yeah,
he's in there. It's just
am I here?
You're in like bad Wi-Fi apparently. You'll kick back in a little bit, I'm sure.
All right, I'll touch on Murray first before I give that clip or that pick. Yeah, Jokic was obviously a little cold when LeBron was defending him, but Jamal Murray is having quite the series so far and quite the playoffs in all honesty. He finished with 37 and 10 for the double-double, several massive shots in the fourth quarter. If he can keep it up, man, Denver's going to be a hard wagon to stop. That's just how it is, realistically. So I don't know. Jamal Murray, the Canadian kid, great for Canadian basketball, great for fans up north. Yeah, it'd be cool to see them get it done. If they could go on to win the championship, especially with Jamal Murray playing a huge role. But yeah, him and Jokic are a hell of a duo, and they're continuing to cement themselves in that upper echelon of NBA duos right now, for sure.
Yeah, no, I think to me, what's amazing to see is the fact that if you really break down the Nuggets roster, aside from Jamal Murray, like who's really a superior offensive talent? And I would argue like Aaron Gordon's on the back end of his career. He plays well, good defense, yeah, sure. KCP is a 3-and-D guy at best. And then Michael Porter Jr., if he's not hot, he's ice cold. But somehow Jokic just navigates this offense in a way that literally everyone is getting at least 2 open layups a game, like wide open, like that me and you could hit no matter what.
You
So,
give him that on the top of the key, and it's like, well,
but you put my Nona in the lane there, and she's getting a bucket. I'm serious, dog. Like you put literally a grandma in the lane with Jokic passing the rock, she probably goes 5 of 10. I'm serious, dude. Like this guy he draws so much attention, and rightfully so, because he can pop it from anywhere. Obviously, from 3, he's gonna be hot or cold, kind of like MPJ, but you still got to guard the perimeter with Jokic, so it's like
yeah.
he's gonna get 5 wide open looks to Nonas or KCP. It doesn't really matter.
Everybody but RA could probably score and defend by him.
For those of you who don't know, a Nona is a grandma in Italian.
Yeah, for
just
our
to make it
non-Italian
clear.
listeners here.
Yeah, for the non-Italians that are listening, I don't know, but hopefully you could have figured that one out. But yeah,
Yeah, jeez. So Nona could get hot in game 3 if Jokic is gonna keep it up.
Mhm.
But
Nona's in the starting lineup, actually, it looks.
yeah, she's got over under 2.5 layups, over under.
smash the over, smash it.
Oh yeah, give it
She
all.
takes one charge, though. That's it. Like,
Oh,
that's
that's
your season.
she's a game time decision for the season, like AD.
Yeah, there goes the hip.
Yeah, see ya.
One prop I really like tonight for Game 3 Lakers Nuggets. Austin Reeves, threes made / also his prop line, 2.5 plus 145. It was this morning. He's got 3+ threes made in 5 straight. He's over in 6 of 7 versus the Nuggets, averaging 2.71 threes made. And he's attempted 6+ threes in 4 of his last 5. So obviously with LeBron gassing out a bit offensively, they're going to need Reeves to step up and continue to shoot the rock at a high clip. And he's clearly done that over the first 2 games and honestly over his last 5 even. So Austin Reeves over 2.5 threes made. I like it tonight. Yeah, I think it's a good pick.
Sorry, just one last thing before we go into our parlay segment here. I love how a couple at the start of the series, I remember talking to you guys game one about Jokic rebounds and assists, how it was so stupid that it was at 23 and a half or 24 and a half. Dude, he's literally not even been close to the under once. He almost had 20 rebounds and assists in the first quarter of game one. It was
Yeah.
so dumb. But it's like, I mean, something to look at too if you're looking for picks. Just look at his rebounds and assists. He's getting 17 and 12, 15 and 15. It's just like it's so consistent. He's almost hitting 30 every night, whereas no
It,
one else is even coming close to that.
it's a
Yeah,
number so high, but you don't even sweat it out at all. You're
I
cooking by
know.
halftime. Like,
Well, yeah, when he's got 21 rebounds and assists at half and the line's 25, sure, give it, yeah. Here's the money. Take it.
yeah,
But yeah, no, I guess that kind of wraps it up for MLB, NHL, and the NBA. Obviously, NFL not being on this time of year. But we're going to take it over to our prop parlay segment, powered by PropInsiders.com. I'm going to kick us off here. My pick for the MLB tomorrow, which is Sunday's games, is going to be Kershaw strikeouts. So far on the year, uh, actually his last 10 games, 8-2 on the over, 7-2 this season against the Cardinals at home. He's 2-0 with an average result of 8 strikeouts versus his average line of 5.5. I see that being bumped up to 6.5 on the sports books. But even in his last start where he pitched 4 innings and kind of got lit up in a sense against the Twins, he still had 7 strikeouts in 4 innings. So he's posting a 30% strikeout clip. When you round it up, it's like 29.58%. So I like that pick a lot. Kershaw strikeouts, giving the over. Clayton, over to you.
yeah. Over the ice, Rupe Hintz and his shots on goal prop. It might be 2.5, it might be 3.5. He's got 4 shots on goal in the last 3 games straight, so I would assume that probably is going to tick up to that 3.5 now. 13-3 against Vegas since 2018, and he's 7-1 in favor of the over when playing in Vegas, averaging 3.25 shots per game. He's got 4 shots per game in the last 3, so pretty clean there. Good minutes. He's averaging just under 20 minutes in that time frame. Even though he's sitting at 50% at 2.5 shots for the season, I still like him in the playoffs for it. Aiden Hill's likely in the net. Season average 27.06 shots on goal against per game. The last 3 games, that's all the way up to 37 shots on goals against. So good pick there. Dallas is going to come out firing. They need a win. So I'd expect him to be on the forefront of that. You can look at him scoring a goal as well. He's got 2 in the last 3, 5 in the last 5. So, Lucas.
Nice. Over to basketball. We talked about the playoff legend Jimmy Butler. I got him over 2.5 steals and blocks for Game 3 tomorrow night. He's had 4+ in 4 of his last 5 and a combined 10 steals and blocks for the first 2 games of the series. Jimmy averages 2.42 steals and blocks a game against Boston in 16 games since 2018. Celtics were a tough matchup on this prop all year, ranking 7th in both steals and blocks against, averaging a combined 10.9 per game, but over the last 3, that's up to 13.3. So give me the playoff legend, Jimmy Butler, over 2.5. I believe it's around -115. Yeah, good luck. He's hot, and they're going to need him again for Game 3. So Jimmy Butler, 2.5 steals and blocks, over.
Beautiful. So that kind of wraps up our 3-leg parlay here, powered by PropInsiders.com. I have given you Kershaw over. I'm going to believe it's 6.5 strikeouts, 5.5, 6.5. I'm still comfortable with both. Give me over 6.5. Lucas is bringing you the heat with Jimmy Butler's playoff legend over 2.5 steals and blocks. And then Clayton's bringing us with the Rope Hints over 2.5 or 3.5 shots on goal. So that wraps up our segment here. Thanks, guys, for listening. Hope you have a great day. Enjoy the long weekend. Peace out. Have a good one.